All right, guys. So I actually have a pretty hilarious story to talk with you guys about today regarding President Trump, right? Or should I say, future Speaker of the House Trump? Okay, because if you guys remember, there's been this idea floated around that Trump could potentially be Speaker of the House. Now, my ignorant self is sitting here thinking, like, I don't know if Trump would run to be a rep, right? Why would he run to be a rep when he was president, right? I mean, I don't know if that would necessarily make sense. But apparently, the Constitution does not require the Speaker of the House to actually be an elected official, right? And in my opinion, that actually kind of makes sense, right? Because the Speaker of the House is like second in line of succession, right? So after the vice president. And in my opinion, with the way our representative democracy is set up, it would make sense that we would have a fail-safe in there, right? To have somebody that's in line to be president that wasn't necessarily or doesn't necessarily have to have been elected by the American people, right? They can be chosen by those representatives. So it made perfect sense. This is something I literally just learned about. That's like the fun part about doing this job, is that you just learn so much on a daily basis, right? That's why I love it, right? That's why I love talking to you guys. But the Democrats apparently are aware of this, and they are absolutely terrified of this possibility if they were to lose the House in 2022, as the Dems are pushing a bill to stop Trump from serving as Speaker, as supporters call for ex-president to take role and impeach Biden. A Democratic congressman has introduced a new bill that would block Donald Trump from becoming Speaker of the House after he expressed interest in assuming the role. Pennsylvania Rep. Brendan Doyle introduced the Members Act on Monday, which, if signed into law, would ensure that only elected members of the House of Representatives could serve as the Speaker. The bill seeks to address what is essentially a constitutional loophole. The Constitution does not currently require the Speaker to be a member of the House, meaning someone who isn't a current congressional lawmaker, such as Trump, could be appointed to the position by the GOP if they triumph in the 2022 midterms. Doyle's bill would prevent Trump from taking the gavel unless he were to win a congressional seat and join the House. Yeah, so that also brings up an interesting conversation and debate, right? Let's say Trump is interested. Like, he's like gung-ho about, I want to be Speaker of the House. Would the GOP fall in line and elect him as Speaker of the House? That's actually a really good question. That's actually a really good question, because you would think that a lot of these representatives, right, from these districts are from pretty heavy Trump districts. And if the party does not fall in line behind Trump, a lot of these guys could literally lose their seat come, 2024, 2026, whatever, if they chose not to do it, right? If Trump made a whole big thing out of wanting to be Speaker. Because chances are the Republicans are going to take back the House in 2022, as long as they just don't screw up, right? As long as they just don't screw up, which, who knows? I mean, with Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell leading the way, we just don't know, right, what's going on with the GOP and how they're going to fare, right? We just don't know. But regardless, like I said, it would be an interesting debate to see if the GOP actually would make Trump the Speaker if he actually wanted to be the Speaker. An alarm bell. The Speaker of the House is second in the United States presidential line of succession, Doyle said in a statement. That Donald Trump's name would even be tossed around as a potential Speaker in the People's House should serve as an alarm bell that our current requirements need to be amended in the name of protecting our nation and our democracy. All speakers in U.S. history have been incumbent members of the House. However, a lawmaker can nominate whoever they want for the role of the chamber's top-ranking leader during the roll call at the start of each session of Congress. And recently, a number of Republican lawmakers and commentators have made a suggestion that Trump should not run for president again in 2024. Then he should consider becoming the House Speaker if Republicans regain control of the chamber. So this guy who actually introduced the bill, right, actually cited Trump as the reason for introducing the bill. That's how shook some of these Democrats are of Trump, right? That's how scared they are of Trump having any type of role or power in the government, right? They're so shook that the man cited, like, this is the reason why I'm introducing this. Bruh, Trump is living in some of these people's heads rent-free. I'm telling you. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz has been a vocal proponent of the idea, even including calls for Trump to become speaker in his fundraising emails. Marjorie Taylor Greene further suggested that Trump should assume the role of speaker to impeach President Joe Biden. When asked about the proposal during an interview with far-right radio host Wayne Allen Root last month, Trump called the idea so interesting. Yeah, you know, it's very interesting, Trump added, saying that others had suggested he run for Senate, but you know what? Your idea might be better. It's very interesting. But in the week since, Trump spokesperson Jason Miller said the former president has zero desire to be speaker. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy claims Trump's backing him for his inevitable bid for the speakership. Still, Doyle deems his bill necessary, adding in his statement, this legislation would establish a mandate in very clear and direct language, and it would serve as a check against those who would seek to undermine and derogate the authority and responsibilities of the Speaker's office. While the Speaker has always been an elected member of Congress, several non-members have previously received votes during Speaker elections. Most recently, former Representative Anthony Brindisi, a Democrat from New York, voted for President Joe Biden in 2019 due to his opposition to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Trump, meanwhile, has continued to tout another White House bid. When asked by Fox News host Maria Bartiromo last week whether he run in the next election, Trump said, I absolutely know my answer, and we're going to do very well, and people are going to be very happy. All right, so with that being said, guys, according to Jason Miller, Trump has no interest in being speaker. And I'm not really surprised by that, right? I think when he was probably asked initially, he probably thought about it, was like, oh, this is not actually an elected position. Should I whip, right, these rhinos into line and get them to make me speaker, right? I think Trump thought about it, and then I think after he really thought about it, he's like, I don't think I'm interested, right? And the reason why is because, you know, guys, I personally don't think that Trump would fit the role of Speaker of the House, right? Like, when it comes to being the Senate Majority Leader or the Speaker of the House, right? Like, those roles, guys, involve being very, very, very plugged into the core goals of that party and knowing the ins and outs of how Congress works. Now, this is not anything negative about Trump or a shot at Trump, but I don't think that Trump has a grasp on all the details in terms of the inner workings of Congress, and for good reason. He has not been a swamp creature, right, for his whole life like Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell. So obviously he's not going to be as effective as somebody else who has that experience would, right? The best role that's suited for Trump is in a position like being president, for example, right? That would be the best role suited for him, right? If he wanted to actually have another government position, it'd be president. I honestly don't even think Trump would be a great vice president, just considering his personality. I'm just being real, right? And again, that's not a knock against him. That's just me saying that Trump's personality and considering his experience, right, in government, right, being an elected official, he only has experience being president. He doesn't have any experience in Congress. I don't think that he would necessarily be the best fit for that role. And he probably agrees with me, right? And which is why it seems like he is determined to run in 2024. So, but I do think it's funny, and I do find it hilarious that the establishment, that some of these Democrats are so fearful of Trump that they've decided to introduce a bill to keep him from becoming Speaker of the House in 2022. Even though, you know, I didn't even know that was even possible for a non-elected official to actually be in that position. So anyways, you learn something new every day. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. A Black Conservative Perspective. Peace.